God bless everybody. Today it is December 1st of 2023. This is a quick Middle East update. The ceasefire or pause for the 8 days or so that they had is over now, and so this is going to and is already ramping up. Israel has launched over 200 attacks on Hamas just in the last few hours, and so let's get into some of these stories because I think it's extremely important. I wanted to cover a few concepts or ideas that I have as we move forward and just make you aware of a few things. So we've had this last release of hostages from Gaza, and these hostages that were released, and the reason this pause ceasefire has ended is that all of this, what I call soft hostages, have been released. All the women that Hamas captured, took across the border, have been released. All the children, all that's left are what I call hard hostages, which basically are people that they don't want to give back, soldiers and people, men, things like that. So Hamas did this to look as humanitarian, which is amazing. They would come into a country, invade, kill 1,200 of their people, capture all these hostages, 240 some people, take them across the border, and then parlay to get their people out of jail. I'm sure Israel tried to release the least violent threats that they had to get them back. So Hamas looks like the good guys here. They're giving all the women and children and all this, all these hostages back, but they were the actual ones that went in, actually grabbed these people, took them across the border, and then they had to, get Israel to agree to give a bunch of their people back, the Palestinian people back, so they could reunite the Israeli families from this horrific day that happened on October 7th. And so the propaganda machine is in full swing here. You just need to realize that. But now the pause is over, okay? And Israel is unleashing madness again on Gaza. And this is going to open up in multiple fronts on through Hezbollah, the Houthis, because now that these people have been released, there's not going to be any more hostage releases unless, and I say this could happen, you could see an invasion from the north, which would then grab potentially other hostages for Hezbollah, and then you could see a parlay of those, and so they would have to do another ceasefire up there. And as Israel is, or small pause, and as Israel is moving into these areas and bombing basically everything around them at this point, you're going to see potential for this types of things to happen. And so maybe we could see a potential similar situation in the north that we saw in the south. Now, this ceasefire seemed to radiate throughout the Middle East, but I don't believe that's going to last anymore, and you're going to see a ramp up on everything, even the attacks in Syria and Iraq on our bases. The Houthis are going to get back into this. Hamas is going to retaliate as much as possible as they're getting bombed extensively by Israel. And then you've got this problem up around Lebanon, Golan Heights, and West Bank that's going to accelerate as we move forward. And so this is all going to get crazy soon. And I've been talking about this ramping up of where we're heading in the next 4 years or less, because we're talking about the Feast of Trumpets of 27. That's when I believe, in my opinion, that's when the potential the people from Great Tribulation happens. And so that is approximately 1,401 days from today, and I can show you that. So I believe that as we are moving forward, things are going to accelerate tremendously. You are getting ready to cross that 1,400 day mark, where we're moving towards the Feast of Trumpets of 27. And so if you go from this date today at 1401 days, it ends up on the Feast of Trumpets 27. I've talked about how you have to look at Psalm 90:10, and that tells you that we need to look at the fourscore generation of Israel, which was founded in May 14th of 1948 and would end in May 14th of 28, and how in Psalm 90:10 clearly indicates there that all things would occur prior to that. And so as these days count down and you hit a every 100 days subtraction, so at 1500 days things were ramping up. Now look what's going on at 1400 days, and now you've had this potential ceasefire or pause finish. You're going to start to see multiple fronts open up, and an exacerbation of these battle lines, and how this is going to accelerate and amplify, and all these nations are going to get back into this fight because Israel is going to eliminate Hamas. That's their whole goal, is to eliminate that threat. But if you have potential invasion from the north, they take more hostages, then they have to deal with this. And these are, this is like having gold in your pocket. You can go in, steal a bunch of people, kidnap them, take them back, and then parlay them for all these neat little things that you want out of this nation. So it's blackmail, on a level that very few of us can even imagine. And think about Israel. They get attacked. They have all this destruction and death. They take their people back, the horrendous thing that goes on there. And then what do they have to do? They have to buck up and say, you know what, to get our people back, we have to do all these things to get these people back by giving up, violent criminals and other things that we blocked away. And, these are, some of them are minor. They're rock throwing and different things like that. But the reason they're in there is because they've done usually violent things towards Israel, and so they've been locked up for a reason. But now you're getting ready to cross that 1400-day mark to where you're moving towards the Feast of Trumpets of 27, and tomorrow is a sabbatical Saturday. This is a sabbatical Saturday, and that's why everybody gets hung up on my dates, but I believe that the Lord would come back on a sabbatical Saturday, which is the day that the East Gate can be open. It can be only open 2 times, on a new moon and on a sabbatical Saturday. And you can go look this up. It's extremely important that you understand that he has to come through the East Gate. And so it's important that we understand that that gate has to be open for him, okay? It's just the way it works in God's world. But anyway, we're just getting ready to cross that 1400-day mark. I believe you're going to see acceleration as we watch the ceasefire end, and all these fronts are going to open up. Even the fronts on our people in the Middle East, or in Iraq and Syria, against our ships in all those areas of or bodies of water over there. And all these things are going to open up. And Erdogan has been extremely harsh in his rhetoric about how Netanyahu is the butcher of Gaza, and how they're going to go to the International Crime Court and try to get all these Israeli people up against charges and to be prosecuted. And then Erdogan's talking about potentially how Israel has nuclear bombs and they're a nuclear state, and he actually has his own nuclear weapons on our bases in Turkey. They just tried to storm one of those bases about a month ago, so that could turn out badly for that whole region. But I've talked about this for a while. I do not believe they will nuke a whole lot over there because it's too close. All these groups are so close together. Israel's only about the size of New Jersey. You can't radiate the Middle East, or no one's going to go over there. And so I've never thought this was going to be a radiation event or a nuclear event in the Middle East. Now, will we have nuclear events across the globe? Possibly, but I do not believe that we will see that in the Middle East. So we've had approximately 110 hostages released, which are all Israeli women and children. Okay, so the people that they are releasing are non-threat to Hamas and Palestine, even though a lot of the people that the Israelis are releasing are violent towards Israel. Okay, and Netanyahu and the government, led by Isaac Herzog, which is the president of Israel and the leader of Israel, know that Hamas has to be eliminated or eradicated, and then somehow that vacuum has to be filled so that they can bring in a new leadership so that this won't happen again, and they have to eliminate the radical aspects of that government system over there, or this is going to reoccur and they're just going to keep giving up hostages, and it's just going to be more of a problem as they move forward. And they know that. So that's one of the reasons they're trying to eliminate this threat up front. But as you can see, this is ramping up tremendously since the ceasefire ended last night. Israel Army says it's bombed over 200 targets in Gaza today, and so this is accelerating quickly. I've said once you hit that 1400-day mark for a while now, this is going to start to ramp up. Just as 100 days into the future, you hit that 1300-day mark, we're probably in tribulation because you only got 1335 days, as Daniel tells you, from the start of the signing to the Feast of Trumpets, because you have a shortened second half that you have to think about, or the elect won't survive. And I know nobody wants to talk about that shortened second half, but it's extremely important. Because if you go into John, he clearly indicates it's for the elect. So you need to pay attention to these things. Why does he give you 1,335 days? And why does no one talk about that? Because you have 1,260 days from the signing to abomination, the signing of the treaty to abomination, and then he shortens the second half, which if you subtract 1,335 days from the 1,260 days, it gives you 75 days, and I show you on that paradigm how that all works. So you need to pay attention to that. But look at the ramp up here, and I'm not going to go through all these different stories. Look at the ramp up here, okay? You know, whenever you see the Gaza health, this is Hamas, and so they're going to amplify these numbers. You know, nobody knows how many people have died in Gaza or how many people have been hurt. It's probably twice or more what's actually indicated, because you're talking about Hamas is running the information propaganda over there, and so they're going to pad these numbers and make them look like it's worse than it truly is, and so you need to pay attention to that. And look at that, they're already throwing reports out that, and it's possible, you know what, maybe, you know, they have lost a lot of people because they've hit over 200 targets already today. And I told you this was going to amplify tremendously, and it is. And you can go and look at some of these stories if you want. I always use the Syrian live map. You can use it to index all kinds of different things out here and different groups. But these are just in the last hour, and that's what I mean. You couldn't go, it would take you hours to go through all these articles that have come up just in the recent last few hours as the ceasefire or pause has completed. And I now truly believe this will continue. You've had all the soft hostages released. Everybody that's left is a threat to Hamas. They're not going to release them. Israel has given all their soft hostages back, or the ones that are the least threat. And so this is just going to amplify at this point. And so if you have not been getting your oil in your lamp, you need to do that. You need to get right with Jesus. You need to find the open door. You need to do what's required. I don't know if anything's coming up on that December 22nd, but this could amplify tremendously in the next 22 days. 3 weeks is an eternity over here. And God can do anything over, you know, if he wanted to have this all occur overnight, he could. So don't ever put God in a box here. He will do this in his time frame, in his way, and we have no control over any of this. And I'm just trying to show you how this could happen. I do believe that the way Erdogan will invade once he does, because he's going to, and as this amplifies and you start to see humanitarian issues here and up here and all through this area here, and you're getting multiple launches into Israel, this is going to accelerate and get crazy out here fast, okay? And the outcry from the international community as the United States is getting ready to walk away from Israel and not give them their support systems is going to be huge. And it indicates all nations will leave Israel in the end. They will not, no one will come to their rescue. And then you have Turkey up here that's going to start doing a blockade down this area and through here, which is going to lock them off from our ships here. And so this is going to get really intense on the ground as we move forward. God bless. Have a great day.